Welcome to Court Case this week, and of course, I am your Judge Jaydee. Look, there's been so much conversation around the MVP discussion, like every other season. Look, we discuss it, we break it down, what do we like, what don't we like. The Golden State Warriors will turn around and say that Steph Curry is definitely the strong frontrunner, despite the dip in form that he's had recently. Look, Kevin Durant, his sustained excellence is leading the Brooklyn Nets, but once again, he's facing timeout with an injury, and then there's Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is the embodiment of consistency and doing what final MVPs should be doing. But I actually like listening to head coaches, because head coaches will sometimes turn around and give you the perspective that we don't see. And there's a head coach this week that's turned around and spoke about his player that should be getting way more respect. When Mike Malone steps to the microphone and says one of the most disrespected MVPs in history is Nikola Jokic, it made my ears perk up. And immediately it brought the first case for this week. I see you not in agreement, Hoop Genius. So I'm asking you, looking at what Nikola Jokic is doing, numbers perspective, knowing the injuries that he's having to deal with on his roster at this moment in time, but still maintaining his excellence, are we disrespecting the Joker?
Well, JD, Nikola Jokic is the first reigning MVP who didn't get a Christmas Day game since the league went to the Christmas Day games in 2008. So that's over 10 years. The MVP always plays on Christmas. They didn't have Jokic playing. And, you know, a lot of the media channels over in the States, they don't put any respect on him when it comes to the MVP discussions this season. But I'm going to have to disagree with your statement that he's the most disrespected, because we are the media. I am the Hoop Genius, and I'm about to break down to you why people need to respect Nikola Jokic, because what he's doing right now is unprecedented. We're seeing have an all-time great individual season. They're missing not one but two max players. That's Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. I'm going to give you some numbers right now, okay, and then I'm going to break it down for you. This season, the Nuggets are plus 247 when Nikola Jokic is on the court and minus 204 when he's off. That 451-point differential is the second largest in the NBA, aside from Steph Curry. But the point differential when Jokic is on the floor basically means when he's playing, the Nuggets are a 62-win team. When he's not playing, they play like an 11-win team. That's the difference of having him on and off the basketball court. That speaks volumes about not only how great he is, but the lack of help that he's getting from his roster. He's the only player in the NBA to lead his team in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. So they can say he's disrespected and he doesn't get the love. But right here, we're going to give Nikola Jokic some love and say he definitely deserves to be in the MVP conversation. He has definitely been one of the best NBA players this season. The MVP award is dictated by narrative. Because his team's not winning games, they're knocking around 500. He might not win the award, but that doesn't mean to say that we at HeatCheck do not recognise the greatness and the individual brilliance of the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic.
I'm just glad that the eye test weighed up to the stats that the Hoop Genius has put out there. Now I feel even more confident in jumping over to Japan and asking my boy Ovie, you turn around and tell me then, are we giving Nikola Jokic the flowers that he deserves, and is he the most disrespected MVP in league history?
I wouldn't go as far as to say he's the most disrespected. I think he's in the MVP discussions, which rightly so, because he's having an absolutely outstanding season. However, I feel like there's a bunch of guys that are around the league that can make different cases from different angles. LeBron James went on a really impressive stretch. DeMar DeRozan has obviously been leading the #1 team in the East. Obviously, Giannis over there with the Milwaukee Bucks has been absolutely terrific. I think Ja Morant has been showing stretches where he could make a legitimate argument. Obviously, I think the last time we spoke, Stephen Curry was the unanimous decision. So, you know, with all of these guys, I honestly don't feel like there's any runaway candidate at this moment. There's still a lot of basketball to play. And I feel like the MVP and whoever ends up getting the title at the end of the season is heavily going to depend on how they finish up after the All-Star break. So, yeah, I feel like he maybe could get a little bit more love from the media outlets, but his name is in there amongst the other MVP candidates. And I think he's earned that much, but there's been a lot of really good basketball played this season.
That's fair. That's fair. BJ, you know about an MVP or two. I mean, there's a few that's been on the wall behind you. So you turn around and tell me, is Nikola Jokic one of the most disrespected MVPs in league history? And are we giving him enough flowers for what he's doing this year?
Well, when I heard this, I said, wait till I see Coach Malone. I got to have a little private conversation with him. Disrespected. Wait a minute. Every time I watch the game, this guy's getting double teamed, triple teamed every single night. amongst the other 29 teams in the league, there's no disrespect here from any NBA coach or NBA player. Okay, now, in saying he's the most disrespected, he's probably the most unlikeliest MVP because of the era that we're currently playing in, which is a small ball era. All of the media, the pundits, the experts, they all pick some small guy because of the three-point shooting to win MVP, whether that's Steph Curry or KD or James Harden. No one, because of the way we play today, we're picking the big guys. And last year, I was so happy to see Jokic and Joel Embiid at the top of the list because the game is coming back to the bigs. Disrespected, there's no disrespect. This guy is the real deal. Is he a highlight reel as far as dunking and all of those things like Ja Morant, must-see TV, or all of these guys that we see on TikTok and all these things? No. But when you break down the game and the fundamentals of the game, there isn't a basketball head, a basketball person who doesn't appreciate and respect this man's game to the utmost. I refer to him as the most charming player in the NBA. I don't know how he does it. He's not moving fast. He's not jumping high, but he is so clever. He is so good, and he commands more than you can't guard him with one or two guys. This guy is that great. So when I see Coach Malone, we're going to have a little conversation. I love the fact he's sticking up for his guy, but no one, guys, make this clear. No one's disrespecting this guy. He is a problem. He's a triple-double. And you know what? He is a phenomenal, phenomenal player. And hopefully we'll get a chance to enjoy him playing at this level for many more years to come.
And you know what as well? I just want to say this season we are seeing the most disrespect ever to an MVP winner. But it's not Nikola Jokic. It's that man, Russell Westbrook. Because every day, every night, this man is being torn to shreds on the internet, in the media. He's being blamed for every single problem over there with the LA Lakers. This man is a triple-double record setter. He is an MVP. And I've never, ever seen an MVP be disrespected in this way. James Harden used to get a lot of flack, and he got disrespected a lot. But Russell Westbrook, the way that people are talking about him this season is outrageous.
I mean, I wasn't quite ready for that segue. But,
I know you, Jamie.
But since we're gonna stick on the topic, I understand where BJ Armstrong's coming from. I understand where we as basketball heads, we can appreciate the excellence that is Nikola Jokic. But I do want to stick with the statement, only because he is, I feel, being so disrespected by the body of work because he isn't aesthetically pleasing. But we need to give him more respect, would be the verdict that I'm going to give. But talking to people that we need to give more respect to, since you opened the can of worms, Mo, we might as well dive straight in. Because I know this might not make you happy, and I get it. Because I texted you yesterday, and I said to you, the Laker fan base is a very unique bunch.
Tell them what you sent me. Tell them what you sent me.
I will not bring up my DMs here on TV.
No, because that sounds mad. It was a Laker fan rapping in Russell Westbrook's DM. There's a Laker fan out there that wrote, recorded, and then sent Russell Westbrook a freestyle
Contented
to
court.
his DMs. Telling him to leave.
Order.
That's the most disrespect I've seen. And no one writing a 16 bar for Nikola Jokic.
Highly disrespectful. But I think the lofty expectations that comes out of Laker Nation, and I think the lofty expectations that also comes out of elements of the Boston Celtics as well.
They don't drag us into this
Wait.
mess.
Wait. Because of the embodiment of the franchises and the history that surrounding both of those two franchises, sometimes sets the fans' expectations at another level. And I think Russell Westbrook walked into that, being from LA. We know the work that he's done down there in the LA community and how proud he is to represent California. But at this moment in time, I had a real look. I'm not gonna lie, I had a real look at the roster. I looked at everybody that was earning the minimum wages. What could we move? I looked at even down to Luol Deng, who's still collecting money. He's still collecting money. I ain't out here trying to kill no one else's bread. Shout out to Luol, yeah? And I thought to myself, if we're gonna look at the LeBron James timeline, and we're gonna look at achieving the goal, which is of course championships in LA, we need to make a move. And I know it's not going to turn around and make everybody happy, but it might be time to trade Russell Westbrook. Ovie, you're looking real intense over there. I need to get your reaction first. How do you feel about this proposition in court?
I mean, look, to be fair, I feel like that's a no-brainer. Like, he obviously has to be traded. However, I feel like the Lakers have left themselves overexposed here. I don't feel like he's as attractive around the league for what they might necessarily need. I feel like the jig is up on Russ. Everybody knows now the guy can go out there and get numbers with the best of them on a team that's mid-level to subpar. But as soon as you put any real pressure, real expectation on him, this is sort of what you get. I feel like this is the first time he's been in a situation where he's playing amongst champions who have won, someone who has clearly been there, and the expectation now is to win. Before the season, all of us sort of could have agreed Lakers were one of the front runners to win the championship, and Russell Westbrook was expected to be an extremely huge part of that. But how he's been performing is just not that. He's not a good fit for this squad. I watched the game the other night. I saw a play where he was in the short corner. LeBron's trying to go one-on-one, but because he's scared to step out to the three-point and he really isn't comfortable out there, he's sitting in the short corner and you've got Dwight Howard at the free throw line. There's absolutely no space in there. The best squad that these guys have to go with is a small ball lineup, and I feel like anyone who's really contending this year, you're going to have to run into the Suns. Even if you run into someone like the Nuggets, who aren't a very good team at the moment, they'll struggle because they have an actual big. And the best lineup the Lakers have defensively is a small ball lineup. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like that's the only way you're going to give Russell Westbrook any space to sort of attack when LeBron James is at the 5. So I feel like he just doesn't really fit for this situation. It's very obvious now. I feel like people are beating at a dead horse. We've seen the issues. He's not a very good defender. He doesn't defend. He doesn't play very well on that end of the floor. So even on the defensive side of things, I mean, you can't really necessarily rely on him for what is expected at a club like the Lakers. So, yeah, man, Russell Westbrook, I honestly just believe it makes sense to sort of try and move him around for a piece that might fit the situation a little bit better.
44 million this year, 47 million, and we know no one with a player option is going to turn that down. GMO, what do you do with a contract like that with a player that's performing at this level?
Let me tell you one thing, JD. You call me GMO, but if I was a GM, I wouldn't have got myself into this predicament in the first place. Because here's the thing.
Rob Pelinka, that's a shot.
Because this is the third time I'm saying this on this show, okay? Everyone goes on about Russell Westbrook's turnovers. He's averaging the same amount as he did last year and the year before and the year before. They're going about him missing shots. His field goal percentage is right there in line with last year and the year before. The Russell Westbrook they've got is the Russell Westbrook they traded for. It's not like he's come to LA and he's fallen off a cliff. Now, is it Russell Westbrook's fault that the coaching staff is putting him out there alongside DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard, who also aren't going to space the floor? Is it Russell Westbrook's fault that the front office has constructed a roster that they refused to pay Alex Caruso to stay? They couldn't negotiate with DeMar DeRozan to convince him to come to LA. Is it his fault, or has he just gone to the team that's traded for him? It's not like even when there is a free agent, they rang up the Washington Wizards and said, listen, we'll give you Kyle Kuzma, who, by the way, is balling out right now.
He's balling.
He's balling right now. I never thought I'd say these words on this show.
Their heart hurts even more.
Listen, I never ever thought I'd see the day where his player on the court got more attention than his outfits, but here we are.
Or
It's
the fact of who he's
2022.
dating. I'm telling you.
It's crazy, okay?
It's crazy.
But they gave up Montrezl Harrell, who looked like he's bounced back to his best self. You just got to think about Russell Westbrook is Russell Westbrook. He wasn't going to come here and become a three-point shooter. He wasn't going to come here and become, a lockdown defender who just played a minimal role on offense. You knew what you were getting for him. So all the Laker fans who blame Russell Westbrook for how this season has gone, and all the media who love to harp on about Russell Westbrook is the reason this team is losing. No, he's not. The front office constructed this roster. The coaching staff is putting out these lineups. Russell Westbrook is just being Russell Westbrook, and there are plenty of teams that he could help in the NBA. The issue is, as you said earlier, the contract, 44 million, 47 million, that's an astronomical amount, especially as a point guard who relies on his athleticism, ages and gets older. The amount of dunks that he can score now compared to what he did back when he was in Oklahoma, he just doesn't have the elevation that he did once before. So
I don't know, ask Rudy Gobert. I don't know. That's just facts.
That dunk last night was all the rage. He's been hearing all the tweets. He's been hearing all the media, and he just had to throw it one time. But I can't get on to Russell Westbrook. because he is Russell Westbrook. And this is a man who's won the MVP. We were just talking about it. He's won the MVP award. He's put up so many triple-doubles. And the reason why they brought him in was they wanted him to go through the regular season, helping them win games, and then LeBron and co can take over in the playoffs. They didn't anticipate Anthony Davis missing so much time. They didn't anticipate the rest of the roster maybe not performing to the levels they were. They're relying on Stanley Johnson, who came in on a 10-day, to come and save them. Like, I'm blaming the front office and the coaching stuff because Russell Westbrook is Russell Westbrook. You can't get onto him for it.
I mean, big up to Stanley Johnson, by the way. 10 days, that's how you grab a 10-day opportunity.
Secure the bag.
Every year, every 10 days, seems to be getting those extensions. But BJ, if you could just tell me over your shoulder, who's that in the middle, right in the middle of your 3 honorary members that you got right there? Just who is that? Just tell the people.
That's Irving Magic Johnson.
I mean, and I just
It's showtime.
I just seem to remember a point guard in LA that just showtime.
Rondo.
Yeah? Just showtime. Right now, what I'm seeing from Russell is almost no time. So I'm just asking you, BJ Armstrong, where we're sitting at right now, do the Lakers need to restructure this roster?
No, they don't need to restructure this. And I want to be very clear here, is because there's been a lot of narratives, there's been a lot of media of criticism of Russell Westbrook, and Russell Westbrook seems to be the easy target here for everything that's going on here in LA. And I'm going to give him credit for this. You know what? Some people can take this. He shows up and plays regardless of what's going on. He's not running away from this smoke. So I'm going to give him credit for that. Now, we live in the era now where you got guys missing games for various reasons. Russell Westbrook shows up to the run. However, the main issue with this Lakers team is the following. Who is the best player on the team, and when are they going to perform like the best player on the team? We didn't bring Russell here, and I say we. The LA Lakers did not bring Russell Westbrook here to be the best player on the team. Let's be clear about that. When he came here, Russell, you can't tell me that they brought Russell here and they said, hey, Russell, we want you to be the best player on the team with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Now, LeBron James gets a pass from me and from everyone who's ever played this game and all of the experts. Why? Because you're watching a man put up numbers at his age like no one's ever done on a consistent basis. However, and we got to say this, we can't expect LeBron James, even though he's putting up numbers, to carry a team night in and night out in this league at his age. That's facts. That's a big fact. But whatever he has to give me at 37, give it to me, big fella. Some nights you're going to look like an MVP. Some nights you may not look like an MVP. And that's okay because he's giving me what he got. He can't do what he once did when we talk about Cleveland and that LeBron James, night in and night out. Okay, so we're not expecting LeBron James to be at that level because he's already conceded, LeBron James, whether he said it or not, but let's say it here. He's already conceded that Anthony Davis should be the best player on the team if they're going to win a championship. Now, because of the injury, now we're in a situation now where all of a sudden we're placing blame on Russell Westbrook and we put the highlights and all of those things. But the fact remains is the following. If Anthony Davis can't carry the mantle as the best player on the team, this is what you're going to get. Because I'm watching LeBron James put up the same numbers that he was putting up prior to this, with one exception. He just can't beat the teams like he once could because of his incredible athleticism and his ability to win a game. So I'm not going to fault Russell Westbrook. I'm not going to fault the GM. You know what I'm going to fault? Let's fault the player who should be the best player on the team. I'm not even targeting Anthony Davis. But right now, until Anthony Davis accepts that responsibility in a place like LA, then and only then can we say what is really going on, because we are giving Russell Westbrook this unfair target and criticism for what? Like, who is expecting Russell Westbrook to be the best player of the team? Raise your hand. I didn't see that when he came to LA. So I think right now, guys, Anthony Davis right now, until he comes back, let's sit here and talk about, hey, what they could be, what they should be. But if he comes back and he accepts that responsibility, JD might be right, because LA is a championship caliber team if AD plays the way he plays or should play.
BJ, hey.
There's
I
not
got
many
one
times.
question.
There are not
got
many
one.
times. There are not many times I'm gonna turn around and do this season. That was a gavel drop. I'm gonna be real with you. I know you've been hanging around with the Hoop Genius a lot now. I know you have. Yeah, I know you've been hanging around with the Hoop Genius a lot now. Because you said enough without saying too much. Yeah? And all I'm gonna say to you is, BJ, I'm actually gonna U-turn on the prediction that was made in court today, and I'm going to say Russell still has a role to play because it's not, as you said, it's not Russell's responsibility to make this team great. It's somebody else's responsibility that may begin with an A and may end in an S somewhere along the line, just somewhere along the line.
Can we get some French Montana for the outro music?
Hey, listen.
Because you guys remember what I told you when they were in the bubble winning the championship? I told you that boy is not a superstar that everyone said he was. They didn't want to listen. And here we are now.
Look, there's some question marks to be had. And I'm excited to see how LA... You never know, my championship prediction could still come true if AD comes back as he's supposed to. But Lala's still going to be jumping. Russell's no doubt a bit still going to be jumping. And hopefully, the big Brody can turn this around.